Hey guys, here I am again with more on Excel. Only this time round I've been working with a couple of students and I've set them some homework. And I was thinking, like, how can I make it so that I don't have to repeat all the answers to them or show them what all the answers are? And I thought, well, hey, it'd be a good idea to actually work through the questions and the answers just in a little screen presentation like this. And I thought I'd record it and share it with everybody. So here goes. So what I've been doing then is I've got 10 questions for them to answer. Rename this sheet, create 10 clients. I'm not going to read it all out to you. Let's go through them one by one and I'll show you how you can achieve, or how, if you were on the course, how you could... I'll just keep going. Okay, so here we go. So rename this sheet to heart rates and colour the tab blue. So down the bottom here, it's currently just called, actually I'll just move that client thing out of the way a bit. It's called Sheet 7. So what I will do is just right click on it and rename it to heart rates, H-E-A-R-T-R-A-T-E-S, and I'll right click again and make it blue. Make it sort of like that lighter blue. You don't necessarily seem to see that until you click away from it, and then probably blue is not a good example. Let's just go and say, let's make it green. And then there you go. So it's green. Let me just go and change that because it might be better that I get my students to do that too. Okay, so that's how you rename a tab sheet and colour it up. So that can be quite useful, obviously, in various situations, just when you're trying to organise yourself. Create 10 clients, client 1, client 2, using the mouse only. So here I have a little table and I've typed in the words client 1 for my students, and I'm just going to go to the bottom right corner of the cell selector. I don't actually know what this, somebody comment it for me if they could, because I can't remember what this is called. I'll just call it the repeater, okay? And if I click and drag, it creates client 1, client 2. It uses the value in the first cell as the sample on which to base everything else. There's loads of other things that you could use that for. So, and the other thing that you could use it for is dates. So if, say, I wanted the date of every Sunday across the top here, all I simply need to do is give it today's date and then next Sunday's date, and this time highlight both of the cells. So I'm using the mouse to click and drag, and I've actually got both of them highlighted now. I know that one still is white, but believe me, they are both highlighted. And then if you give them the two examples to use and you click and drag to the right, it will create for you in all subsequent cells that you drag to a date that's 7 days later than the one that it was based on. Because excuse me, because you were given it the first 2 dates to begin with. So that's question 2 sorted out. Now question 3 says to record 6 weeks. Actually, I'll just zoom in on that a bit because I had to stop there for a moment. I think I may have zoomed out. So record 6 weeks fictitious data for each client's resting heart rate. So what it's saying here is for all these clients, let's just put into this table here 6 weeks worth of data. Now I'm just going to show you a neat little trick that I showed the people on the course. I tell you, years ago when I used to teach Excel all the time, I used to teach to accountants, and they'd come across this little neat trick about data entry, and they'd say to me, "Cracky, if I only knew that 3 years ago, how much time could it have saved me?" So this is the trick. Forget the arrow keys. Forget the arrow keys. You cannot touch the arrow keys. So we want to do 3 weeks, okay? So highlight the area first. So all I've done there is just clicked on the first cell, click across and down. Got that? And then if I wanted to put in 72, press enter. And then for the please don't worry about this guy that's got 1200 beats per minute for a resting heart rate. But see what happened there. I don't think I should have paused a bit longer. When I put 1200 in and pressed enter, the cursor has actually gone to the top of the next column. So here we go. Let's just push a whole load of things in there. So 400, say. Watch what happens. When I press enter, it goes to the top of the next column. So if you practice this, and for whatever you do, just don't touch the arrow keys, you can get really fast at entering data, particularly if you have a little numerics keypad on the edge of your keyboard. I've got a little remote one here, so it doesn't have a numerics keypad there. And then when you get to the end, when you get to the bottom right and press enter, it shoots up to the top left. So it kind of like locks you into that little area of the table for data entry. Really neat little trick. Let's just put everything back to where it was. I'm just going to have to do something a bit crazy here. Let's just put 110 for everybody. Okay, so we've got 6 weeks fictitious data for resting heart rate. Now, the next one, and I didn't actually teach this on the course, I'm actually trying to get people to think a little bit about how they can do things for themselves. So you'll notice here, if I put my, just resting my mouse over cell C5, is it? C5, yeah. Resting my mouse over C5, it pops up with a little comment. And you'll notice that there's an arrow there in the corner, a little red arrow. And then the next question says, figure out how I created the comment on C3. C3? Sorry, it's C5. Oops. Bear with me while I fix this as I go. Figure out how I created the comment on cell C5 and create one of your own on cell... It's a good job I'm recording this video, eh? Cell C7. 1 second. I'm fixing my training as I go. Okay, so the next question is actually relevant. Maybe I should put this first, actually, because if you forget how to do something in Excel, what is the first thing you should try? So you've forgotten how to do something. You don't know how to insert a column. You don't know how to make something bold. You don't know how to delete an entry. You do a right click. It's as simple as that. So what I'm saying there then is that if you do a right click over a cell, you get a menu, a right click menu that is specific to a cell, which is different than if you do a right click over a column header. You get a menu that is specific to a column header. So then, using that knowledge that you now have with the right click, it simply means that to answer this question here, figure out how I created the comment and create one of your own on C7, which is there, you do the right click. And from the menu that appears, you can say insert comment. And it pops up a dialog box and you can say this is a comment made by Mike. And as you can see, I cannot type and talk at the same time. And comment, yeah, or even spell. So basically, when you right click on something, just bear in mind though, the final point is that you really have to know where your mouse is before you do the right click. You can't just right click and hope for the best. You have to position your mouse over the thing that you want to change, do the right click, and then a menu will appear that gives you all the options based on the exact position of your mouse when you did the right click. So starting in cell K17 and ending in K27, calculate each client's resting heart rate. So there's a function called average equals ER. So you go equals, remember, always start the formula with an equals, type the word average, open a bracket, click and drag across the range that you want to average, close the bracket, press enter. And the average of 110 is 110. And if I wanted to take that one down now, there you go. I'm just going to put some, some values in here that might give it a bit more context. So let's say this guy's on 89, resting heart rate. This guy's super fit on 62. and this one here is not doing too well. So there you go, that's how you can do an average. Control and B makes it nice and bold. I don't know what those numbers are doing there, so they've gone. So that's how you can do the average then. So I'll just delete that and do it once more. It's equals AVERAGE, open bracket, click and drag over the range, close bracket, enter. There we go. That's how you can do the average. Name the data entry cells. Oh God, here I go with these darn cell references again. D17 to I26. Nearly I26. I put I27 there. Okay. Oh, sorry, people. I might have to edit some of this because I'm actually fixing stuff as I go. I think that's the range anyway. Okay. It doesn't really matter, to be frank, because what I'm trying to do here is show you how you can name a range. Now remember, why would you want to name a range? Well, sometimes data entry sheets can be really big and it can be cumbersome to try and select everything and your mouse goes up and down off the screen, or there might be a range that you want to go to on a regular basis so that you can just print that data out. So this is how you can do something. You can give a range of cells, or even one cell in Excel, a name. You've forgotten how to do it. You highlight the range that you want to name and right click, and you can say name a range. Ta-da! You click on that one and you go Mike's data entry. You can't have spaces in this. Okay. So now I'm on somewhere completely different, on a completely different sheet, wherever. I'm still in the same file though, and I've obviously still got Excel running. And from the drop down up here, you can click on Mike's data entry, and there you go. You're back on that particular range. Let's just do that again from this screen here, because that may not have been quite that convincing. So that's how you can name a range. For something that you might want to print on a regular basis, or your data entry range. And there are actually extended and advanced uses of using names for cells or ranges of cells. How can you quickly name the data client sample heart rates? I should have called it. And how can you quickly select this range of data entry cells? Well, I just showed you how to do that. Okay, let's say that we wanted to make any of these cells that were above 110. So let's make some of them above 110 so that we've actually got something to work on. 140 odd and 200. Okay. So you're on the Home tab. Now, bear in mind that this is an old version of Excel and your version might be slightly different, but I'm sure the principles are very much the same. I'm on the Home tab at the top here, and I've got conditional formatting. Don't forget, in Excel, generally speaking, if you want to do something, you've actually got to click and drag, or just click on an individual cell that you want to work on. In this case, we're working on this range, which I could have, if I was smart, I could have used this technique here, remember. So I've got my range there, and what I want to do is use this thing here called conditional formatting. And this little guy is so useful. I used to spend hours with people showing them how you could write macros to achieve all of this, and then Microsoft came along and released this and nobody needed me anymore. So that was a bit concerning, but I just had to move on to other things, as you do. So conditional formatting highlights cell rules if it's greater than. So if I click on that, it's almost done it for me. So if I said that, must have done that before, I can tell you, because it's not guessed that unless it's getting really smart. Let's say it's 130. Oops. And if it's higher than 130, you can choose what you want, or you can go for your own custom format. So I can't remember what I said there. Bold and red. So we'll go bold and we'll go bright red and click OK. And what that does, it just picks out the numbers for me. Whoops, click OK. That are above a particular range. Now if you look in this conditional formatting again, there's any amount of things that you can actually do. It actually can get quite complicated, and from memory you can put on 3 conditions. I'm getting into a little bit skatey there with my knowledge because I haven't done it for quite some time, so I probably should back out gracefully at this stage and say have a good mess around with that. It's really quite useful. Okay, making last one, final point, number 10. Using only the mouse and the control key, make a copy of the table below, placing the top left hand corner of the copied cells in L17. Alright, so okay. So what I want to do is grab the whole table there. And now, of course, you're probably quite aware that you could do copy and paste, so Control C, Control V, but we're going to do it slightly different. So I've got the range selected. I'm going to hold down my Control key. I'm going to work from this side over here. I'm going to hover over the edge of that range, and I don't know whether you can see it or not, but my mouse changes to a mouse pointer with a plus sign, and if I click and drag and drop that, I'm just going to zoom out for you using the Control key again. You can see that I've made an exact copy. So I'll just do that a couple more times and a couple more times, and there you go. So that is a way that you can do, you can copy things really quickly, in the sense that it maintains all the column widths, it maintains all the formats, etc., which I'm 99% certain that Control C and Control V, copy and paste, doesn't do that. So there's a little challenge that I set some students, and there's a summary of all the things that I asked them to do, and hopefully you've got an idea how to do them all now. And I'll put this one on my own feed as well, so the people that did the course with me can have a look at it once they've completed their own spreadsheet, sent it back to me, and see what the actual answers are. Catch you next time.